Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Azura binti Abdul Halim. My metric number is DE2088. So, I will be presenting for the simulation of our ladder diagram. First of all, according to the project question, first we need to switch on this start button X1 in order to energize this relay C1. After that, relay C1 contact will energize solenoid S1, and solenoid S1 contact will energize the first timer, which will allow the water to get inside the tank for 90 seconds. After that, the contact of the timer for the water to get inside the tank will energize the float switch, which will de-energize the relay C1 and the solenoid S1. This float switch contact also energize the second timer, which is the chemical reaction timer for 120 seconds. After this timer finish counting, the contact of the chemical reaction timer will energize the relay C2, and the contact of the relay C2 will energize the third timer for 90 seconds for the water to get out of the tank, and also contact of relay C2 will energize solenoid S2, which will open the valve for the water to get out of the tank. This system will loop for the whole time, and then this switch button also will de-energize. This switch button S1 will also reset this timer as I put the the button here for every ladder of the timer, and also I also add the emergency button in each ladder, so that if an emergency happen, the emergency button will cut off the source for all of the ladder. Let us see the simulation. The relay C1 is energized and solenoid 1 has energized the timer for the water to get inside. After that, the float switch will turn on, which will cut off the water inside the tank and energizing the second timer for the chemical reaction to happen in the tank. After that, the timer will energize relay C2, which will energize the third timer for the water to get out, and also the solenoid S2, which open the valve for the water to come out of the water system. This system is looping, and then this SB button is functioning for resetting all of the timer, and this emergency button function to cut off all of this power source in all of the ladder if emergency happen. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Hajra binti Abdul Aziz Ish, my magic number CE1900033. And for this assignment, I will explain about the truth table. For the ring one has the float switch, start button X1, emergency button, and the relay C1 is the output. When the float switch is 0, start button X1 is 1 and the emergency button is 0, the output will 1. Every time when the float switch is 1 and the emergency button is 1, the output is 0. Next is ring 2 has the release 1, emergency button, and the solenoid S1 is the output. When the release 1 is 1, emergency button is 0, and the output will 1. The output will 0 when the emergency button is 1. Next is ring 3 has the solenoid S1, start button X1, emergency button, and the timer 000, water in as the output. So when the solenoid is 1, the start button is 1, and the emergency button is 0, the output will 1 as long as the emergency button is 0. Next is ring 4 has the timer water in, loop with the float switch, timer water out, emergency button, and the float switch as the output. In this case, either timer water in is 1 and float switch is 1, or both is 1, the output will 1 as long as the timer water out and the emergency button is 0. But when the timer water out is 1 and the emergency button is 1, automatic the output will 0. Next is ring 5 has the float switch, start button X1, emergency button, and the timer 001 and chemical reaction as the output. When the float switch is 1, start button X1 is 1, and emergency button is 0, the timer chemical reaction is 1 as long as the emergency button is 0. Next is ring 1 has the timer chemical reaction, emergency button, and the relay C2 as the output. When the timer chemical reaction is 1, emergency button is 0, the output will 1. The output will 0 when the emergency button is 1. Next is ring 7 has the relay C2, start button X1, emergency button, and timer 002 for water out as the output. In this case, when the relay C2 is 1, start button X1 is 1, emergency button is 0, the output will 1 as long as the emergency button is 0. When the emergency button is 1, the output will 0. Next is the last ring, which is the ring 8, as the relay C2, timer water out, emergency button, and the solenoid S2 as the output. So when the relay C2 is 1, timer water out is 0, and emergency button is 0, the output will 1, as long as the timer water out and emergency button is 0. But when the timer water out and emergency button is 1, the output will 0. That's all for me. Thank you.